Okay, here's your review for quadratic equations. Some of you did not do well on this test last time we took it. You need to prepare a little better. Ask me what you don't understand. Now it says graph the equation. First off, the second power means it's a parabola, so I need 3 coordinates. Okay. What form do we have? There's no parentheses. It's a quadratic equation in standard form. Well, it means I need to have an a and a b, because the way to find the vertex of the x is opposite of b divided by 2 multiplied by a. So the opposite of negative 8 is 8, and then I go 2 times 2, which is 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 3, 1. Then I plug it in. So 2, parentheses 3 to the second. So that's the first important formula to know, how to find the vertex of a parabola. Opposite of b divided by 2a. Minus 8 and then 3. Plus 1. Okay, negative 5. Click the up key. Negative 7. Hopefully I'm back at negative 5. Sure am. Okay, plot the points. Should have a graph. So you go 1, 2, 3 down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, negative 7. 1, 2 down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, negative 5. Right 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Also make them U's, not V's. V's is for a different type of function. It's for absolute value functions. Okay, next one. Second power. Need 3 coordinates. This is 1 parentheses with the second power outside is in vertex form, because a vertex is extremely easy to find. I take the expression inside the parentheses and set it equal to 0. So I minus 2, that'd be negative 2. So negative 2 is the vertex at the x. Negative 1, negative 3. Really, the x vertex is just the opposite of what's going on inside there, negative 2. Now I plug and chug. Negative 4, parentheses, negative 1 plus 2 to the second power, minus 5. Get negative 9. Click up, negative 5. Click up, negative 9. Okay, plot it. You go left 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Negative 2 for negative 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now I got my parabola. It goes upside down, which is because of the negative multiplier in the front. That always means it's going to go upside down. Okay, number 3. You got a product of 2 x's, means it's a parabola. All right, this is factored form. In factored form, we find the vertex is the third point I need to find. I set that expression and that expression both equal to 0. Then I'm minus 2. That's negative 2. I plus 4. That's positive 4. Okay, those are your outer points, negative 2 and 4. They also happen to be the x-intercepts, so 0, 0. Now, to find the middle has to be halfway. If you plot these, a parabola is symmetrical, so the vertex has to be somewhere in between those, exactly halfway in between, which you find by using the average. Meaning I add the 2 numbers together and divide by 2. So negative 2 plus 4, that's 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then I replace those with 1. So negative 2, then 1 plus 2, then 1 minus 4, 18. 118, so I go right 1, 5, 10, 15. You can go by 2s if you want. I'm going to choose to go by 5s, okay, on the y-axis. X can still go by 1s, though. You can go by different values on each axis. Okay, downward to be expected when there's a negative multiplier in the front. Okay, and that's graphing. Now equation solving. You got to find two answers for x. You got x squared. Do you have x? Yes, you do. You need to get this equal to 0 so then you can factor. Now you're equal to 0. Check. Now factor it. How many terms you got? You got 2. Okay, and then we'll see if we have a difference of perfect squares. Okay, 5 and 25, 5. Now they both have x, so 5x. It will not be negative because there's no negative in the front. So I factor out 5x, and then I go divide by 5x. So it's going to be 1 with x plus 5 without x because the x is canceled there. Now, is your x even to the second power? It is not. So it is not factorable as a difference of perfect squares. Now, that's my factoring. 5x, parentheses 1x plus 5 equals 0. All I've done is rewritten that in factored form. So f1, f2. So 5x could equal 0. 1x plus 5 could equal 0. So we divide by 5. Divide by 5, that's 0. Subtract 5 from both sides, it's negative 5. You don't really have to divide by 1. So those are our two solutions, 0 and negative 5. Okay, next problem. I had a lot of people screw up a problem like this, and all I can tell you is you got to make the box say you got x squared. Do you have x with it? No, you don't. So you will not be factoring. You will be using the square root method, meaning I isolate the x to the second so I can do the square root. 3x to the second equals 54. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Okay, so x to the second's 18. Great. Square root of 18. If you look on the board, 18 definitely not a perfect square, so I start dividing. I take 18 divided by 16, no dice. 18 divided by 9, yep. So I put the 9, 18 divided by 9 is 2. So 3 square root of 2. Now, we will not be putting an I here because the 18 was a positive 18. So I have no need, I don't want to see I in that solution set. Okay, number 9, you got two answers. You have x to the second and regular x. You need this equal to 0 now so you can factor. If you have x squared and x equals 0 first and then factor. When you have x squared only without x, you use square root method. Okay, so equals 0. Okay, check that. You're good. Now I put a 1 in front of the x, and I can see I got 3 terms. So I see if I can find a greatest common factor. And then I want to see the t-table set up. Greatest common factor, you're not going to just go to the quadratic formula, quit doing that, because then you forget how to factor. Then you go to Mr. Larson's class and you're not good at it because you haven't got the sufficient practice. That's why. So, grade 1, you're not going to have an x. It's not negative, so don't do it. Because dividing by 1 doesn't change it. It's a useless step when you divide by 1. So I go ABC. I take 1 times negative 54, and that's negative 54. So I got to come up with 2 factors of negative 54. So it's got to be a positive times a negative, and they have to add up to the negative 3. 1 and 54, that's negative 53. Divide by 2, you get 27. That's negative 25. Positive negative 54 divided by 3 is 18. That's negative 50. And also, do not call it prime until you've divided through at least 8. That's going to be our rule. 4 and 5 are decimals. They're not factors of 54. 6. So I put 6, 9. And they add to negative 3. Perfect. They multiply to negative 54. They add to negative 3. I'm perfect. Now, A, after you find the numbers, put what the A equals and pay attention to that. Your A up there is a 1. Okay? Means you can get rid of the 1. And you can factor it as just 2 parentheses, x plus 6, x minus 9. So I come over here after I'm done factoring, equals 0, and I rewrite that with the factors, parentheses, x plus 6, parentheses, x minus 9. There was no GCF that I need to put here. So I just took that expression and rewrote it in its factored form. F1, F2. This here is called the FOILed form. This is the factored form. X plus 6 equals 0. X minus 9 equals 0. Minus 6, you get negative 6. Plus 9, you get 9. Okay, x is second plus 10x minus 10 equals 0. There's 2 answers. You have x is second. You've also got x. Okay, so that means equal it to 0, so we can try to factor it. Equal to 0, check. Okay. Put a 1 there. Okay, 3 terms. Table. 1, 10, and 10's 1. X on everything, nope, and there's no negatives, so get rid of that. So 1 times negative 10 is negative 10. So I got to find, I'm trying to find 2 factors of negative 10 that add to positive 10. So negative means you need a positive and a negative. Divide by 1's 10. Well, that's already not going to work because 1 plus negative 10 is negative 9. I'm never going to get back up to 10. So that's a prime expression. We cannot factor it. So to get the solutions, we approximate them using the quadratic formula. So opposite of b, plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac divided by 2 times a. So b itself, opposite of b is negative 10. b is 10, 4a is 1, c is negative 10, and a is 1. Okay, so you got negative 10 in the front, 2 times 1 on the bottom's 2. Make your double square roots. Okay, 10 to the second means 10 times itself. That's 100 minus 4 times 1 times negative 10. That's going to be negative 40. Plus, that's 140. Okay, find the square root of 140, or at least approximate it, and that's going to be 11.83. Okay, then from there I add, click equals, divide by 2, 0.92. It's an approximation, meaning if you put it back into the equation, it's not going to quite equal what it's supposed to, but close enough. Negative 10.92. Now, I'm not going to write above it, please approximate the answer, because that's a dead giveaway that it's a quadratic formula, okay? You have to know. Now, I made this packet out of order. Go to the back page of this. Okay, 5x a second plus 8. Actually, hold on. Scribble that out a second. I want you scribbling that out for better practice here. Here's what I want. I want you to put down 5x a second minus, I don't know, let's say 10x equals, and over here let's go negative 9 minus 8x. How about that? Now, this will prepare you better for the test. There's two answers. You got x second. You've also got x in the equation. Two of them, as a matter of fact. So you, again, have to get this equal to 0 so you can factor. Now, what do you do if if you're not equal to 0? Well, I'm going to put a 0, and I'm going to get these out of here. So plus 9. Now, 9 has nowhere to go. Can't go with x squared or x, so I put plus 9 there. Plus 8x. Now the 8x can be added to sorry, I didn't want that. I wanted that as a plus 8x. Make that a plus 8x, so I need to minus 8x. Now I'd minus it from negative 10x. Okay, now write it in the correct order because you have 0. You put the x squared first, followed by the x, negative 10 minus 8. It'd be negative 18. It would not be 2. Then plus 9. Okay, now you're equal to 0, check, and you have 3 terms. Let's see some boxes. You got your GCF, and then your T-table. GCF 5, 18, and 9 is 1. There's no need for a negative, no need for an X, don't need it. So I find the AC product, 5 times 9. Okay, 5 times 9 is 45. This time it's positive, so I need to find 2 factors of 45, a positive 45 that would add to negative 18. So if I see a positive, I'm going to start with negative, negative. 1 and 45, that's negative 46. 2 is a decimal, divide by 3, it's 15. That's negative 18, bingo. Okay, great. Congratulations. You found it. Now, what's your A equal? 5. Okay? A is a 5. So you can't just go XX. It's 5x squared. Okay? So I'm going to make 2 sets of parentheses, 4 total, and I'm going to put 5x and 5x. Minus 3, minus 15. 5 and 3, you would keep that the same. Now 5 and 15 are both in the 5th row. So it's going to be 1x minus 3. Now go right next to where you're equal to 0 and rewrite that. You got parentheses 5x minus 3. That's the whole point of factoring. You're rewriting the left-hand side. And that makes perfect sense when you compare this to this. If I had xx, I know that's not right because it's 5x squared. 5x times 1x, complete sense. So 5x minus 3 equals 0. 1x minus 3 equals 0. So I add the 3. 5x equals 3. Divide by 5. 3/5. Add the 3. It's 3. 3 divided by 1, still 3. So 3/5 and 3 are the solutions. Okay, number 12, last kind. This is a little bit different. Okay. we will be replacing, we'll be simplifying it so the parentheses not there. Remember, the 2 blocks you from being able to distribute unless you really want to make a second parentheses and FOIL it. Probably not. So let's rewrite that as 4q to the second equals 16. Now there's 2 answers because when I do the square root method, that could be the positive and the negative. Equals 4, then I find the square root of 4. That's 2. So q equals positive or negative 2. So I put a 2 on one side and negative 2 on the other, and then bring back the x plus 5 expression. Two minus 5 is negative 3. Negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. Those are your 2 solutions. Now go back to that graph with those. Fill out the equation of the quadratic function, okay? H and K is a vertex. That's why it's not XY. You need XY for something else. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so H we're going with 5. K will also be putting a 5. Now, to find the A, I'm going to need another coordinate. You always need the vertex and another coordinate to fill out a quadratic equation from scratch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up 3. 7 and 3. Okay, so the y, remember I'm solving for A. Every other letter's got to get out. So I'm solving for A. The y is 3. A is unknown. X minus H, 7 minus 5. To the second, and then plus K. K is 5. First simplify that. It's going to be 4. Okay, so 3. Now it's 4 times A, so now it's A times 4 needs to be written as 4A, and then minus 5. Or plus 5, my bad, it's plus 5. Then I minus 5, minus 5. Negative 2 equals 4A, then divide by 4. Negative 2 over 4, that's the same as negative 1/2 if you think about it. Okay, negative 1/2. When you reduce 2 over 4, you get 2. And it's negative, makes sense because the parabola is going that way. Okay, now story problem time. Cross out this. No, you're doing one like it, but I've formatted it different, so you don't have to worry about the ABC stuff. Okay, first let's look at this one. An electronics store sells 70 of a new model of camera at a price of $320 each. For each $20 decrease in price, 5 more cameras per month are sold. What's the maximum revenue the store can raise by following the procedure? Maximum revenue. When finding maximums, we don't make boxes. Okay? We make a big centered parabola. Now I have to find the maximum of that parabola, and that's found by taking the opposite of the b in the quadratic equation and dividing it by 2 times a. Okay, so to find for the y, I'll be replacing x. Okay, this is not gravity. This is a revenue parabola. So I do want the blank x squared plus blank x plus blank, but I'm not ready to fill in my coefficients yet. So revenue is equal to the money I charge for something times how many items I sell. Now the revenue is $320 to begin with for what you're selling, cameras, but then you're doing a $20 decrease, minus 20. Now it needs an x because I don't know how many times, it's unknown how many 20s we would subtract. Then the items, I have 70, and then 5 more. If that's minus, then this is going to be plus. I'll sell more of them. You're not going to have 2 pluses or 2 minuses. Okay, now I apply the FOIL method. I take 320 times 70. Then I take 320 times 5x. Then I take negative 20x times 70. And then negative 20x times 5x. Okay, 320 times 70, what is that? A good question. 22,400. 320 times 5x is 1,600 with x, and then negative 1,400 with x, and then negative 100 x to the second. So negative 100 is my a. I combine the like terms, and that's my b. And then 22,400 is my c. So the opposite of b is negative 200, and then I take 2 times negative 100. That's going to be negative 200, so I divide that, I get 1. So I guess I'm only subtracting 20 off of the 320 one time. But as we know, sometimes it's much greater than that, so it's good to negative 100 times 1 to the second plus 200 times 1 plus 22,400. $22,500 is the maximum revenue. So you change the price one time, and that's the highest your revenue can go. Anything past 1, you'll start sliding down in the money you make. Okay, now here's how I formatted that ABC problem. Okay, it says an object's launched from a height of 15 feet. It travels through the air at an initial velocity of 120 feet per second. Calculate the object's maximum height. Maximum, no boxes. Okay. Opposite of B divided by 2 times A. Well, this is a gravity. Gravity is pulling the object back towards the ground, so y equals if you want. I don't care where the y equals goes. It goes in front or back. Gravity, negative 16. This here is the feet per second. That's why the x is there, because x is seconds, y is feet. That would be 120. And then this is a starting height. That is a constant. It has no x variable. It's where it starts, 15 feet per second starting height. Well, A and B are right there on a silver platter. So negative 120, 2 times negative 16. So that's negative 32. Now I'd take negative 120 divided by negative 32. It's going to be 3.75. That's how many seconds it took to get to the max height. To find the number of feet, we need to replace the x's with 3.75, and that'll be what y equals. To the second plus 120 plus 15. Got 240, so that's your maximum height, 240 feet. If you want brownie points, you can put after 3.75 seconds. Don't need to. Okay, number 15. An object is launched from a height of 15 feet. It travels through the air at an initial velocity of 120 feet per second. How high is our object after 5 seconds? This time it's not a maximum height, so I'm going to make the boxes here with the 2 units. Big box here just in case. You got feet and seconds. X is seconds, Y is feet. X is time. Time is your independent unit. X is the independent variable. Feet per second is 120. Go ahead and put an X on that. Now I'll tell you what, I'm going to change the way I'm explaining a little bit. Right here, the only point you need to put your starting height, 15 feet. Just trust me on this. Then I'm going to line up my equation. Y equals blank x a second. I think by now we know that's negative 16. Plus blank x. I think we know that's 120. Plus blank, which is our starting height, 15. Okay, nice equation. Now, take the last value in the problem, 5 seconds. Seconds is x, so I love it when they give me x values. I just plug them in, because y is easy to find then. So negative 16, 5 to the second, plus 120, 5 plus 15. 215. So 215 feet after 5 seconds. Okay, part C, last problem. An object is launched from a height of 15 feet. It travels through the air at an initial velocity of 120 feet per second. Find the time it takes the object to land 20 feet above the ground. Okay, we can see our 2 units. But it's not a maximum, so I don't just go like that. I'll be making that over here, but I'm not finding the top anymore. I already know that from a different problem. Feet in seconds. X is seconds, Y is feet. So per feet per second. Okay, again, 120x. I know that's repetitive. Pounds it into your head, though. Now here, just focus on where it starts. 15 feet. Don't put that thing on the end there. Blank x squared plus blank x plus blank. Or you can put the y equals in front of it. That's fine. Gravity, negative 16, 120, and 15. But this time, my job is to find the time it takes to land 20 feet above the ground. So 20 feet. Feet is y. So we are replacing the y this time. So 20 equals negative 16x squared plus 120x plus 15. Now we have to solve for the x. Well, it's got 2 answers because it's to the second power. Not only is it to the second power, there's also an x to go with it. So you need it equal to 0 so you can factor. Okay? Well, you're not equal to 0. Get that 20 out of there. And we can put that with the 15. So we now have negative 16x squared plus 120x. 15 minus 20 is negative 5. Now it's equal to 0. It doesn't matter where you put the equals 0. It could be on this side or this side. 3 terms. GCF table. GCF, now look at those factors up on the board under the 16, okay? 16 is the greatest factor. Let's see if we can divide these by 16. So 120, you already know 5 is not divisible by 16. It's too small. Same with 8. Same with 4. Obviously not 2 because they'd all have to be even numbers to be by 2. So that leaves us with 1, but it'd be a negative 1. So I factor out negative 1. So I have 16x squared minus 120x now plus 5. This is prime on these gravity problems. You have to use your quadratic formula. So opposite of b, plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4a and c divided by 2a. A, B, C. So the opposite of B is 120. B itself would be negative 120. 4A is 16 and C is 5. Then A is 8 is 16. Okay, you got 120 in the front. 2 times 16 is 32. And now it's time to evaluate my discriminant. So I will be taking negative 120 times itself. It gives me 14,400. Minus, now I have to find the product before 16 and 5. And by the way, that minus is not a negative on the 4. That's the minus I already put there. So it's 4 times 16 times 5, 320. So I take 14,400 minus 320 equals and I find the square root of 14,080. 119.66. Okay, then I take 120 plus 119.66 equals divided by 32. 7.49 is your first answer. That's a long time in the air. Then I take 120 minus 119.66 divided by 32, 0.01. I think they're looking for the bigger answer, so 7.49.